The latest on the impeachment showdown. And that surprise on day one, a new Trump phone call tying the president to the pressure campaign on Ukraine. America's top diplomat in Ukraine testified that one of his embassy staff overheard President Trump discussing the investigations on a phone call in Kiev. That staff are now a new witness who will testify behind closed doors tomorrow. Our senior congressional correspondent Mary Bruce starts us off from Capitol Hill. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, George. Well, both sides are digging in this morning. Democrats say that this first day of testimony revealed that the president abused his power, while Republicans say this hearing didn't show any of that. They say there is no pressure that was being put on Ukraine. And now these new revelations about another phone call are raising new questions about the president's personal role here. On the first day of public impeachment hearings, surprise testimony from the top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine. Bill Taylor revealing his aide overheard the president following up one day after his infamous phone call with the Ukrainian president. Trump checking in on the status of investigations into his political rivals.
The member of my staff could hear President Trump on the phone asking Ambassador Sondland about the investigations. Ambassador Sondland told President Trump the Ukrainians were ready to move forward.
Taylor says his aide then pressed Gordon Sondland, the U.S. ambassador to the EU and Trump's point person in Ukraine, asking him what the president thinks about the country.
Ambassador Sondland responded that President Trump cares more about the investigations of Biden, which Giuliani was pressing for.
Over 5 hours, Taylor testified there was a clear understanding that Ukraine would not receive nearly $400 million in military aid until they announced an investigation into the Bidens.
To withhold that assistance for no good reason other than help with the political campaign made no sense. It was counterproductive to all of what we had been trying to do. It was illogical. It could not be explained. It was crazy.
Testifying by his side, top State Department official George Kent, both career State Department officials who've worked for Republicans and Democrats. They detailed an unofficial channel of shadow diplomacy run by Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, that ran counter to America's national interest.
What interest do you believe he was promoting, Mr. Kent?
I believe he was looking to dig up political dirt against a potential rival in the next election cycle.
Ambassador Taylor, what interest do you believe he was promoting?
I agree with Mr. Kent.
But Republicans had their own plan of attack, pointing out Taylor and Kent never spoke to Trump directly.
You weren't on the call, were you? The president, you didn't listen on President Trump's call and President Zelensky's call?
I did not.
You've never talked with Chief of Staff Mulvaney?
I never did.
You never met the president?
That's correct.
Republicans are focusing on the end result, insisting Trump did nothing wrong because the White House eventually lifted that hold on the military aid to Ukraine.
The security assistance was provided to Ukraine without the Ukrainians having done any of the things they were supposedly being blackmailed to do.
But that money only flowed after Congress launched an investigation and the whistleblower filed that complaint. Republicans are also demanding to speak to that person who sparked this impeachment inquiry.
I seek direction to make a motion that we actually subpoena the whistleblower for a closed-door, secret deposition.
Meanwhile, the White House continues to block several witnesses with firsthand knowledge, including Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney and former National Security Advisor John Bolton. If you feel so strongly that you need to hear from the whistleblower, why not push the White House to also let you speak to those firsthand witnesses like Bolton and Mulvaney? Why not encourage the president to let you speak with them as well?
In the whistleblower's complaint, bullet point number 1, he says this: over the past 4 months, I have talked to more than half a dozen U.S. officials. I want to hear from the whistleblower and those officials that he or she talked to. I want to hear from those individuals.
But why not Bolton and Mulvaney? Why not those firsthand witnesses that the White House is preventing you from talking to?
That's their call. These are close advisors to the president.
Now, the public hearings will continue tomorrow with the former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch. She says she was ousted after a smear campaign that was run by Giuliani. Democrats argue that she is the first victim of this scheme, while Republicans will say that the president is entitled to his own team. George.
Meantime, Mary, this is also going to raise questions for Ambassador Sondland, who's scheduled to appear next week. He didn't report that phone call that the aide to William Taylor heard about, and that aide, David Holmes, will testify behind closed doors tomorrow.
Yet, George, David Holmes will be up here tomorrow answering questions behind closed doors. Lawmakers are likely to grill him about what he overheard of that phone call in Gordon Sondland. There are also a lot of fresh questions for him. He has already revised his testimony once. The question now is whether he'll revise it again when he testifies here publicly next Wednesday.
Mary Bruce, thanks very much. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.